We're back now with a tale that you have to hear all the way to the very last twist. A young boy who says he remembers things he couldn't possibly from a time long before he was born. That's according to his mom. She turned to experts of the mind for some answers. NBC's Cynthia McFadden tonight with the incredible story of what they found.
It's not unusual for little boys to have vivid imaginations, but Ryan's stories were legendary.
He said, "Mom, I have something I need to tell you. I think I used to be somebody else." And he started just telling me these stories about how he had lived in Hollywood. His stories were so detailed. It just wasn't like a child that could have made it up.
Ryan talked about dancing on Broadway, working for an agency, traveling the world, being married 5 times. He even said the street he lived on had the word rock in it.
And it would be, "My last room was Grander. I want to go back to my swimming pool."
But things got really strange when they picked up a book about the golden age of Hollywood.
She turns to a page and I say, "That's me. That's who I was. That's me." Yeah.
But the man in the picture wasn't even a major star, just an unnamed extra with no lines in an old Mae West film. That's when Ryan's mother turned to this man, Dr. Jim Tucker, a child psychiatrist at the University of Virginia. For 50 years, the prestigious school has collected more than 2,500 cases of children claiming past lives.
And your conclusion after 15 years is what?
These cases demand an explanation, that we can't just write them off.
He's written about them in his book, Return to Life.
Had you ever given much thought to this whole idea of reincarnation?
No, ma'am. I grew up in a Baptist church. You know, that's not something that we were taught to believe in.
But with the help of a movie historian, the man Ryan pointed to in the picture was finally identified. His name, Marty Martin. And just like Ryan said, he was a former actor turned Hollywood agent who danced on Broadway, was married 5 times, and even lived on Roxbury Drive in Beverly Hills. In all, Dr. Tucker confirmed that 55 of the things Ryan said were true.
Of course, a lot of people are going to say, come on, this is the parent or somebody else feeding them information.
I mean, it's just inconceivable that the parents, for some reason, had done all that. This information wasn't on the internet.
But there was one fact the detail-obsessed scientist thought Ryan had wrong.
He said he didn't see why God would let you get to be 61 and then make you come back as a baby. That looked like just an incorrect statement.
That's because Martin's death certificate says he was 59 when he died.
Since then, I've gotten information that the death certificate was actually incorrect, which would have made Martin 61 when he died. And Ryan was right all along.
Are you glad you've had this experience? Yes, I am.
A chance, he says, to live his own wonderful life. Cynthia McFadden, NBC News, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
With these types of stories, you may be tempted to believe that reincarnation is true. A lot of people believe in reincarnation around the world, holding the belief that when one dies, he gets the chance to come back to life again, usually as someone else, and sometimes in different places. But isn't it funny that those with this belief still hate death and cry when they lose someone, even though they believe they're still going to come back to life? However, when you analyze reincarnation, you will realize that it is a misconception that does not align with logic, science, and reality. Before I put forth my scientific reasons and analysis why reincarnation does not align with logic, science, and reality, I would like anyone with sound knowledge or understanding of reincarnation to answer these questions for me in the comment section. I have often asked those who believe in reincarnation these questions both on social media and other platforms. They always avoid or ignore them. 1. Why does the concept of reincarnation not support the phenomenon of human existence, population growth and decline? 2. Why are death and birth rates or ratios not equal per time? 3. Why do traditions who believe in reincarnation also believe in ancestral spirits and pray to them, if the same ancestors have reincarnated? 4. Why do reincarnated people not remember their previous life history clearly when they are reincarnated? 5. Why are reincarnated people born as new infant babies all over again after having grown up and old to begin life from scratch, etc.? Let me elaborate on my questions for more clarity. If existing humans have to die to be reincarnated, does it not mean that for every single child born in a day, there must be another individual who have passed away, maybe in the same family, place, or somewhere else? But if you check statistics, you will realize that number of birth and death records per day are not exactly equal. In fact, birth rate has to be higher than death for human race to survive extinction. Also, you will agree with me that based on world records, there's been increase in human population over time. This makes it make sense when we say the human race may have originated from one parent, a man and a wife. And we have multiplied to become billions of people on the earth from one single parent. Now, if reincarnation is true, it means that reincarnation is human recycling. And based on recycling, does it not mean that only two people would still remain on Earth's surface till date, or maybe no human would be alive today? Because if two people began human race, by the principle of reincarnation, which is human recycling, new humans will only be born after the first two would have died. This also means that the existence of the first two people would not have been possible in the first place. Because the question is who reincarnated the first two humans or parents of human race, or who died for the first two humans to be born or recycled. So, is reincarnation not contradictory to the science of reproduction and reality of human existence and creation, population growth or decline, unequal death and birth rates? Hence, logic. Also, if people who died are reincarnated or recycled to life, who are now the people up there as ancestors of the same people who believe in reincarnation or human recycling worship as ancestral spirits or talk to for protection and other needs. Now, let me explain the phenomenon most people mistake for reincarnation or human recycling. It is called the phenomenon of generation replacement and generation continuity. This phenomenon is why people can sometimes feel like they have existed before, even though in reality they haven't. People sometimes look exactly like or behave like some family members who have passed away. Generation replacement is the same reason humans can give birth to multiple children as much as they want without the parents being recycled or anyone else needing to die for the children to be born. Generation replacement in humans is a phenomenon that is driven by God's creation or God's creativity power through natural birth and death processes. Just like human civilization and new generation inventions change or replacement are driven by human creativity. It has nothing to do with human recycling or self-reincarnation. Once humans are able to develop new ideas and new products, events, inventions, etc., a new civilization is born. Old ideas, inventions, events do not need to be destroyed for new ideas to be born and new events and inventions to be created. Such that in life, old ideas, inventions, and events always live side by side new ones, hence civilization. Likewise, older generations of people can live side by side younger ones while they are gradually being replaced. Even plants and other animals bear or produce seeds or reproduce without necessarily having to die to self-reincarnate or recycle themselves, but eventually get replaced by their young offerings through their different reproduction systems. God made natural reproduction for generation replacement of living species to be possible for some obvious reasons. 1. To prevent extinction and ensure continuity of living species. Non-living species do not have the characteristics of birth and death, and so do not need replacement or reproduction, but may require recycling. This is why, for instance, there is nitrogen cycle or recycling, water cycle or recycling in nature. The same reason metals, plastics, and other non-living materials can be recycled. But because humans and other living organisms cannot be recycled, we have to depend on reproduction and generation replacement to ensure human race continuity. This is how God designed life, such that living species are replaced and non-living materials can be recycled for continuity of life on Earth. 2. To ensure family assignment continuity. Living things, including plants and animals, has families and organized kingdoms. Every family and kingdom of living species has a responsibility or assignment on Earth, or what I call family assignment. For instance, it is a scientifically established fact that certain animal families like the birds and insects performs the responsibility of pollination of plants to bring about food production, etc. The bees produce the honey humans consume for food and medicine, etc. Also, the activity of plants and trees removes pollutants from the atmosphere, thereby reducing pollution in the environment. Similarly, humans, being the most sophisticated, living, and intelligent species on Earth, are charged with the responsibility of creating and driving civilizations. This is why in the human kingdom, there are different families, and every family is charged with different responsibilities. Some family are inventors, some are event creators, others are custodians of knowledge and teachers, doctors or healers, warlords and protectors of the human kingdom and the earth in general, keepers and bridgers of gates, etc. Because of the different types of assignment given to different human families are also given different unique abilities, gifts, or powers, such that a family of knowledge custodians will certainly possess and exhibit different and unique talents, skills, or abilities than a family of healers and warlords, etc. This means that by nature, God apportioned responsibilities or assignments to humans differently like he apportioned to other living species, which is why every species belongs to its own unique family and kingdom. So, every family has what I call the unique family secrets, like family secret assignment, family secret powers or abilities, family secret sin or family secret weaknesses, family secret history, etc. While we will discuss family secrets and details in subsequent videos, let's stick to our explanation of generation replacement and generation continuity. So, because humans and every other living species are not designed and created to live on Earth forever, but to come to be born once, perform certain assignments for an appointed time, then return to higher realms through death, then humans and other living species have to be replaced by younger generations who takes over such family assignments. Just like every organization replaces older staffs when they retire or their contract expires, the retired staffs do not reincarnate back to the company. The world is like a company, humans are like employees, and life is like a contract for humans. Either humans get old, retire, and get replaced, or the contract terminate or expire early. Even in families, good and responsible parents train children to replace themselves before they die or retire. Life of humans on Earth is all about purpose and assignment. Once our purpose or assignment is done or terminated, we return to our Creator in a higher realm. It doesn't matter the age. Multiple births in humans also proves that reincarnation or human recycling is a fallacy. Scientifically, if you recycle, for instance, a metal, say 100 kilograms of iron, at best yield what you get after recycling will be exactly 100 kilograms of recycled iron, such that the total quantity of any non-living material on Earth's surface always is constant. For instance, total quantity of water on Earth's surface is constant as it is recycled, but it is not the same with living species. The phenomenon and process of death as a characteristics of living species makes it impossible for their recycling, such that God designed another process and phenomenon of reproduction or birth by which humans are completely replaced. Reproduction, which supports multiplicity and generation replacement, makes it possible that one man and one woman can give birth to just one child, 2, 3, or more children at one birth. And other living species also show this multiplicity abilities and characteristics in birth, which ensures adequate supply of human race and other living species generation after generation to ensure continuity. Even organisms that reproduce by cell division still multiply without dying to come back at a later time. So, reincarnation, which is more like a recycling phenomenon and process, do not align with the science of reproduction or replication and birth multiplicity or any human characteristics or characteristics of any other living species, but aligns more with the characteristics of non-living materials and recycling science. Now, let's explain why some people claim to be reincarnated or believe in reincarnation just because they have very striking resemblance or see themselves as exact replica of other people in terms of how they look, speak, act, or perform, the powers they possess, assignment they perform on Earth, etc. Before we go into this explanation, it is important to note that because humans have striking resemblance or exact replica of other people does not mean they are reincarnated. To finally clarify the misconception of reincarnation that comes from the reproduction or replication of humans on Earth, we will employ the science of DNA, fingerprints, etc. Despite the fact that reproduction is actually to a large extent a form of replication, the science of DNA and fingerprints proves that no two humans have exact same information or characteristics, no matter how much replica of themselves they are in terms of looks, actions, or performance, etc. Whereas reincarnation, which is recycling or repetition, should scientifically and logically mean that every reincarnated human should retain the exact DNA, fingerprint information, or characteristics as they had in their previous life. Just like every recycled material certainly retain its properties or characteristics after recycling. In reality, no human ever have exact same DNA and fingerprint information as any other who have lived or still living, which proves that everyone is unique in identity. So, the science of DNA, fingerprints, and special information identification processes proves that reincarnation in humans is a fallacy, which does not align with science, logic, and of course reality, despite the ability of humans to replicate themselves. However, because every family has a unique assignment, every family is also given its unique abilities, weaknesses, powers, history, or DNA, etc. Such that children born to a particular family share these unique characteristics, which are proven by science to be embedded in the DNAs of offerings, so that the offerings can possess the required abilities and powers to carry on their family assignments on Earth. So, when children are born that looks exact replica of their ancestors, or even people of older generations who may still be alive, it doesn't mean that the ancestors came back to life or reincarnated as the newborn. It simply means that parents or ancestors share their characteristics or abilities and powers with their offerings for replacement and continuity of the family assignment. There are instances where newborn carry certain apparent body birthmarks, exact looks, powers, skills, and abilities, and are exact replica as a certain older member of the family who has passed away or still alive. Some children at times may even remember certain life patterns or history of such older persons without being taught, because all these information are actually encoded in the DNA of family members. At other times, some humans are specifically chosen, known as the chosen or gifted ones, for certain or specific assignments that are not the primary assignment of their families, that may have been performed by someone else from a different family. Some children are usually chosen to replace some chosen ones who had lived before them, or collaborate with some chosen ones who are still living and active or retired, even though they are from different families. Such that you find a child who is from a family of healers become a warlord or inventor or event creators despite being taught and raised about healing knowledge and pressured by older family members to continue in the family assignment of healing or providing healing services to humanity, a role or assignment performed previously by someone from a different family. In these kinds of situations, there is usually divine interference from creation, and children like these, known as the gifted ones or chosen ones, are created to be geniuses with higher intelligence and performance capabilities naturally activated for them far above the ordinary people. They are gifted the abilities to see and comprehend beyond what ordinary people can see and comprehend. And because of same unique assignment responsibilities, such children can see and comprehend patterns and history of those they are replacing or collaborating, even though they are not from the same immediate family. And we must also remember that despite the fact that humans belong to different families, we are all from same root or same family tree of one man after all. So this makes it possible for birthmarks, human abilities, powers, etc. to be learned, replicated, shared, adopted, and switched by individuals even though they are from different families, just as it is observed in the child in this video. The child in this video could certainly be a genius, an Aragon or a chosen one, and have come to replace or collaborate, perform, and continue the same assignment as the person he sees or thinks he is reincarnated. In such case, by nature and divine guidance systems of life for humans, certain knowledge or information about the previous life of the replaced chosen one will be shared with him, usually through body, mind, spirit flash, and reflex mechanisms by which genius and aragons learn or obtain strange and uncommon information. Even DNA in humans is a divine storage and transmission or sharing system or mechanism of information, intelligence, abilities, powers, skills, and other characteristics for humans to be able to use for our advantage in terms of information, intelligence, talents and skills, powers, sharing, and adoption without necessarily learning it. In other words, as humans, through our DNAs, we can automatically know and adopt certain information, intelligence, powers, skills, or talents, or characteristics and performance capabilities without learning it from anyone else through the human body, mind, and spirit tripotent balance connections, which operates as a flash and reflex mechanisms. Most chosen ones who are also geniuses or aragons are naturally activated with the intelligence and abilities to use the body, mind, spirit reflex, and flash mechanisms to adopt information, skills, powers, etc. from their own body DNAs and other storage and transmission systems like nature itself and the universe. This is why at genius and aragonian intelligence levels, geniuses and aragons do not necessarily need to go to school or learn from anyone else before they know or adopt certain information or knowledge, even though such information might be hidden from ordinary people. One thing they didn't show us in this video, or the question they failed to ask the child in this video, is how does the child know or come to the awareness that he has lived before as someone else? He would have certainly shared some information about some reflex and flash experiences, maybe flash visions, strange voices, clear inner reflex thoughts, etc., and maybe dreams. So, scientifically, logically, and in reality, reincarnation is just a fallacy of some people's imagination. To know more about the body, mind, spirit tripotent balance connections, the body, mind, spirit reflex, and flash mechanisms, and how geniuses and aragons use these mechanisms and abilities to acquire and adopt information, intelligence, powers, skills, or talents, etc., without being taught, and how ordinary people can activate, refine, and evolve themselves into geniuses and aragons to be able to use these mechanisms to their advantage. Download Rise of the Aragons for free at backend index pointing down. https://co/577d6y. Follow us for more interesting and educative videos like this. Thank you for watching and stay blessed.